Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the 50-cent Pick 4 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday with graded stakes action. One of 9 gradeds on the Saturday Gulfstream card. It's the Honey Fox going a mile on the turf for fillies and mares. You can bet the Honey Fox, you can bet the Pick 4, you can bet all the races at Gulfstream on Saturday with a DRF Bets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com, bet 100, get 100 with your sign-up bonus. Let's meet the field of fillies and mares getting set to go 8 furlongs in the Grade 3 Honey Fox Stakes. We'll talk about the morning line favorite first, Mike. That's the number 9, Bellevue, who beat a couple of next out winners and also 3 of these common foes when winning the Grade 3 Marshua's River last time out. But Javier Castellano gave this horse a beautiful trip.
Yeah, the trip really worked out for this horse. Javi just put her right in a perfect spot in behind the leaders. I like the fact that she was sort of able to keep up around the second turn there because it felt like the pace started to get a little faster there. She didn't lose any ground, and then the rail just opened right up for her. She did the rest. She's been in very good form, actually, since Pletcher's taken her over. I mean, I think she's run well in all 3 starts for Pletcher, and I do think she's a dangerous horse in this race. I don't think she'll be the favorite when it comes to post time, but she's really hard to knock based on her last 3 races.
She's another horse with the tactical speed to work out a trip. I expect her to be in the second flight, but she did get a really beautiful rail skimming run last time out. The number 2 is Valedictorian, going out for an excellent trainer in Kelly Breen, and this New Jersey bred loves to win races. Yeah. She's 10 of 24 lifetime. Timeform US has her on the lead according to the pace projector. That red bar, though, that indicates a little bit of a different story than what we saw in the Grade 3 Swanee River last time out, where Valedictorian was just able to get the easiest lead possible. A half mile in 51 and 4, 3/4 in 116 and 3, and Rimska, the horse to beat, she would have had to put on Superman's cape and just fly home faster than a speeding bullet to beat Valedictorian, taking nothing away from the winner, but it was a beautiful ride by Tyler.
I mean, it really was, and you could see it happening in the first 50 yards of the race. I mean, she made the lead with nobody else going, and Gaffalione just took a hold of her and rated the slowest pace you'll ever see. She had all the best of it in there. To her credit, she kicked on when it was time to go. Never changed leads in the stretch, but she wasn't giving up the advantage that she had. To me, that just makes her really tough to like in this race because I don't see her getting that trip in this race. I think there's other speed in here. Not that she needs the lead to be effective, but she's not getting that trip. And the other thing is she was almost 10 to 1 in that race, and she might be shorter this time. I think she'll probably be around that same price. I don't need this horse in this race.
Let's throw up that Timeform US pace projector where we have the 2 Valedictorian out there on the lead. We see Scotty's Model sitting second. This is a horse who has only raced once since June. That was a decent enough effort when dangled for a $60,000 tag in a synthetic sprint at Woodbine. That being said, this horse does not have a lot of experience in route races. Perhaps she'll show a little bit of speed, but I'm not sure she's fast enough to go with the likes of Valedictorian or even a horse like La Signore or Conquest Hard Candy.
I mean, we look at her the same way. I know she's stretching out, so maybe that'll get her forward in here. And listen, she doesn't run that many times on turf, and her turf form seems to be fine, but she's way more of a sprinter.
I think Conquest Hard Candy is a sneaky horse in here, and I'd like to use her underneath, and that's kind of been the story of her career. She likes to finish second. I thought she ran well last time out in the Grade 3 Endeavor. She was up close to the pace. She took over with confidence turning into the lane, and Hawksmoor, the class of the race, ran her down late. It was Conquest Hard Candy's best performance in a while. She's the kind of horse that's at her best when she's able to make the lead, and maybe that's the way Joe Bravo will ride her.
It'll be interesting to see what they do because they haven't really been intent on the lead with her in her last few starts, and it kind of blew up in their face 3 starts back in that allowance race where she just got totally boxed in the stretch with nowhere to go. She's run really well in her last 2 starts. I think she can get a good trip in this race. I would use her underneath. I don't really feel like she's necessarily a win candidate in this race, but I would use her underneath in this race.
Let's talk about the 10 Dolce Lily, and I was very impressed with her performance last time out. Her first start as a 5-year-old in the South Beach Stakes because she was basically caught 4 wide around both turns all the way around the track. She was able to make the lead, and she just held them all off in the lane, and Conquest Hard Candy, the runner-up, came back to flatter the performance somewhat with the good second in the Endeavor. Now, she draws a lousy outside post position here, but in the form she's in, she has races that can put her in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, she's been in good form for a long time, too. I mean, she started out her career like she was really heading the right way for Chad Brown. Bill Mott took over last year, and she just kept it going. She ran one good race after another last year, and she came off the layoff with maybe the best race she's ever run last time. And there's a lot to like about her. The post isn't great. I think this is a tougher field than the one she faced last time, but there's a lot to like about this. this one.
I was really proud of Firekey's performance last time out. They were stretching around perhaps a little bit farther than where she wants to go. I don't really think a 2-turn 7.5 furlong is her game, and she was so far back in the early portion of that race. It did help that the pace collapsed, but she was running at the end of that race. It was a good effort. They're going to try to go a little longer with her here against slightly better horses. I'm a big fan of Firekey. I think it's a little too tough.
I agree with all those things. She's a really cool horse, really nice horse. She shows up every time. I think she will run late in this race, but this field's tougher than the last one.
Hogan's Holiday, the number 8, scored in a starter optional claimer last time out after being defeated by Bellevue at odds of 47-1 2 starts back. She is a stakes winner against 3-year-olds and paid $82 to boot back in November at Gulfstream Park West. She picks up Irad. That knocks down a tick of the price, perhaps, the way he's been riding at Gulfstream. She's got to run much better.
Yes, and you don't want her price being knocked down at all against a field like this because she has to run the race of her life to win.
And Valentine Wish in the My Charmer last time out just fell far behind at 79-1 against Capla Temptress. And while she's been a useful horse in her career for a good trainer in Victoria Oliver, she just seems to be a notch or 3 below graded stakes class.
Yeah, just didn't toughen a race like this.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Honey Fox Stakes. Mike, let's talk about the 4 La Signare. We have not seen this horse since the Marshuas River back in January, and that was her first start in about 7 months. And I thought, all things considered, she ran well because there was some pace up front in that race, and she was contesting it, and Bellevue had the perfect trip. And La Signare, I thought, ran well considering the layoff. We saw her in the Belmont Oaks. Something must have happened to her that day. We liked her that day. She got an easy lead. We were confident on the far turn when she shook away, and then she disappeared after that race. Her Wonder Again, I thought, was really good.
Yeah, it felt like maybe the distance did her in that Belmont Oaks because she did look stronger on the second turn. Then she didn't finish at all. Maybe something went wrong because there was a long layoff after that too. But I really feel like the combination of a 1.25 miles and then maybe something else happening really did her in that day. I liked her Wonder Again a lot. I know she got loose on the lead, but she ran really well that day. She ran really well in her stateside debut at Keeneland from off the pace as well.
Against a good horse.
Yeah, I think she really has some talent. When I watched the Marshuas River last time, it might have just been as simple as a case of she's off the layoff. They didn't want to go too hard in that race because she broke like she could have made the lead if she wanted it. And it felt like Jose Ortiz didn't want it. He wanted to sit off another horse. He did. She was very confidently ridden around the second turn. Then when she dueled in the stretch, she just got tired at the end. Maybe she needed the race. I'm willing to give her another chance here because I do think she has talent. And in a race like this, Dan, I hope Jose is not trying to rate this time. I would like to see him come out of there running and try and make the lead.
That's the question I was going to ask you, because you have a Conquest Hard Candy and you have a Valedictorian. But I think that La Signare could be faster than both of them. And I think that the plan this time around is to make the lead. And if she gets an easy lead, she might be very tough to run down. Chad Brown, I think, will have the favorite in this race when it's all said and done, in the number 1 Précieuse. Heck, this mare won the French 1,000 Guineas as a 3-year-old, and she came off an extremely lengthy layoff to run really well in the De La Rose at Saratoga last time out. Now, maybe she got the soft going that she really prefers that day.
That's true.
But she ran really well. She swung extremely wide turning into the stretch. She made the lead, and it took a mare the quality of Uni to run her down late. And all Uni did after that race was win the Noble Damsel with a 91 and the Grade 1 Matriarch with a 101 Buyer speed figure. So we know Précieuse at her best is top class, but she's ouchy. She's going to have to deal with a little bit of a layoff, and we'll see if the pace does not materialize, if she can run them down. I think her best race is maybe the best that these can do.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I do think you have to wonder about firm turf with her because it does feel like she's better on soft. I personally don't love the fact that, you know, what was she off for over a year before she came back at Saratoga, ran once, we haven't seen her again since. Those things I don't love. She ran really well in De La Rosa. I mean, that was a really strong performance. And if she shows up and runs like that in this spot, they just might not be able to beat her.
But Mike's going to take a shot with La Signare. Second start, really off the layoff for her. Maybe makes the lead. 419 for Mike, 1297 for me in the Grade 3 Honey Fox Stakes, kicking off the 50-cent late pick 4 at Gulfstream. You can get your pick 4 wagers down with DRF Bets. Sign up at bets.drf.com. It's as easy as ready, set, bet. An approximate post time for the Honey Fox, 4:30 Eastern. Best of luck.